What's going on, everybody? It is Amani from Terminal HTA. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. At this time, we're going to go ahead and ask that you subscribe to our podcast and turn on your notifications. You will not want to miss any of the material that we have coming for you guys. And once you've done that, go ahead and sit back, relax, and we'll get into today's podcast. Hey everybody, it is Amani and thank you so much for joining me on Terminal HTA. Today we're going to be talking about traveling and life post-COVID, which will hopefully be sooner rather than later. We're going to be talking about what to expect and how things may change. But before we get into that, just a little bit about who I am and who we are here at HTA. HTA stands for Here, There, Anywhere, and we're a travel blog. We like to give people the ins and outs based on our experiences. It's a lot of hands-on information that we're giving you, firsthand information that we're going to be providing you with. And if it's not firsthand, then just know that it is heavily researched. Now, at this time, if you could go ahead and subscribe to this podcast, turn on your notifications. You will not want to miss anything we have for you, as well as go ahead and follow us on all of our social media. We're heavily active on Instagram and YouTube, which is HTAnywhere. Again, that is HTAnywhere on YouTube and Instagram, as well as you can subscribe to our email list by going to our website at HTAnywhere.com and go ahead and signing up for that. But before we get into today's topic, we're going to be going over some world news. We'll be right back with world news. Welcome back to Daily World News. All news that we're going to be providing you guys with is from BBC.com. Again, all news that we are providing you with today is brought to you by BBC.com. U.S. oil prices turn negative as demand dries up. Due to lockdowns across the world that have kept people inside, oil firms have resorted to renting tankers to store their surplus of supply, and that has forced the price of U.S. oil into negative territory. On a more positive note, Italy records first fall in active COVID-19 virus cases. For the first time, Italy records one-day fall in number of people that are currently infected. So that sounds great. It sounds like a small light at the end of this, what seems to be a very long tunnel. Lastly, the U.S. is faced with protests amid pressure to reopen. Everyone I know is feeling the pressure of being in the house for it's been almost 2 months now, so that pressure is definitely rising. Protesters have taken to the streets in states across the U.S., demanding that governors reopen economies shut down by COVID-19 pandemic. Rallies in Arizona, Colorado, Montana, and Washington state took place on Sunday, following earlier protests in half a dozen states. Agitation for easing restrictions has grown, despite the risk of COVID-19 resurgence posed by reopening too soon. The president has signaled support for the protesters, and the U.S. has become the center of COVID-19 crisis with over 735,000 cases and some 40,000 deaths. But signs have emerged that it is reaching the apex of the outbreak and that infection rates are slowing in some states. And that's all we have for you today in Daily News. Now, with that, we're going to get into today's topic, which is traveling post-COVID-19, what to expect, what are our expectations, and just simply how we're going to move forward once the world does open back up. So, from what I've been hearing and what I've been researching, there is a plan, at least in the United States, there is a plan that is being rolled out sooner rather than later, and there's like a schedule in which each state is going to be reopening its economy and kind of in attempting to get back to normal. This information is coming to you from thenationalpost.com in regards to the president's rollout plan that could reopen some states in the coming months. So, from the National Post, it says the president has unveiled guidelines on reopening the U.S. economy that could allow states and employers to abandon within 4 weeks most social distancing practices to curb the coronavirus outbreak. Now, from my understanding of reading through this article, amongst others, which again, this is coming from the nationalpost.com, essentially states are going to have to meet certain guidelines in order to reopen their economies, business by business, facility by facility, until we can get back to a sense of normalcy. Now, when it comes to traveling, that I don't think we'll ever travel normally again, to be quite honest with you. Me myself, I was already borderline OCD before when it came to travel, and now I just feel like my brain is going to explode when I have to think about all the things that I have to like clean and touch and come in contact with now. But we'll get through this. We're getting through this together, and we'll continue to progress. Now, some things to consider before traveling post-COVID, and I'm getting this information from cdc.gov. Some things you may want to ask yourself that are now going to be pretty important when it comes to maintaining this thing, in addition to getting back to normal when it comes to traveling. Should you travel within the U.S.? Like I said, we are based here in Georgia in the United States. So a lot of people are asking, well, is it safe to travel domestically, state to state, as opposed to traveling internationally, which it is a valid question. The CDC recommends that if you are going to travel domestically in the United States, that you research your destination in a sense that you understand their outbreak volume, as well as, you know, what is still available for you to go to. It really just seems like the world has shut down. So even if you are traveling domestically in the United States,
what the hell could you go?
Outside of obviously checking on friends and family, which, you know, is being encouraged to do virtually at this point. But if you insist on traveling domestically and you have to just kind of go in and research your destination prior to leaving, is COVID-19 spreading in that area where you're going? Will you be traveling alone, or will you be traveling with companions? And if you're going to be traveling with companions, then you should seriously consider who you're traveling with. Are you traveling with older people? Are you traveling with younger people? Are you traveling with someone who has some sort of severe health history or pre-existing condition? Is it necessary that you travel in a group at this time? Just all questions that you will need to consider now, as well as when things slowly but surely start to reopen for travel. Something else that you will need to consider when you're traveling is, do you have a plan to take off from work, or if you're a student, to take off from school once you come back? A lot of prevention that people have been trying to put in place for COVID-19 is to self-isolate if you just simply have to travel. So if you're going to be traveling as soon as the gates open back up, you know, do you have that time to travel, come home, and then take care of yourself, isolate yourself to make sure that you're fine before going back into the workforce or going back into school, being around your family members if you're someone who lives with your family in one home. So those are things that you should also consider as well, according to the CDC. And also you should think about, is COVID-19 prominent where you are currently living, so that you are not potentially a carrier taking it state to state with you. You know, unfortunately, you have larger states like California and New York that are really suffering with this type of disease because it is so heavily populated. So you should also consider, you know, your current living situation and where you are and how this disease has affected your home state. And again, all this information that I am providing you with and just kind of posing you questions for is coming from cdc.gov. So if you want to do some more research, feel free to head on over to the CDC website. Something else that I feel like is going to be more prominent as things begin to open back up is, I feel like with the regression in air travel and airplane travel, there's going to be way more road trips happening once post-COVID travel starts, simply because people are still going to be very on edge. People are like, I always joke and I tell some of my friends and family, I'm like, OCD is not going to be a diagnosis anymore once this is done. It's just going to be a normal, because there's never been a time in my life, and I'm only 25 years old, there's never been a time where people have thought so much about cleanliness when it comes to being in public. You know, you never have gone to a restaurant and brought your own Lysol wipes, or gone to the airport and wiped down literally everything you had to sit on, touch, reach for, breathe on. You know what I mean? So everybody's going to be OCD when this thing is all said and over with. So in addition to that, to kind of coincide with people's need to kind of minimize their shared spaces, there's going to be a lot more road trips before we see a spike in air travel again, which is not terrible. I'm always down for a good road trip. But as someone who lives in the state of Georgia, traffic is already terrible. And so I cannot imagine what traveling roadside is going to be like post-COVID in terms of traffic. Like, you're really going to have to do some doctoring and some math to figure out how to get where it is that you want to go without being stuck in traffic. But I guess that's a conversation for another day. For another day. Something else really important to consider before traveling post-COVID is, once you get to where you're going, consider your living quarters that you're going to be in. Are you staying in a hotel? Are you staying in an Airbnb? If you're traveling abroad, are you going to do a hostel? Like, really sit and consider your living quarters, because some are more flexible than others in terms of you being able to bring your own stuff. Like, I know when I travel, I'm more likely to bring my own bath towels than as opposed to like using towels in a hotel, because I'm just kind of OCD like that. So now it's like people are going to be trying to bring their own towels, their own bed sheets, their own everything, essentially, so that they'll have a peace of mind while they're on vacation. So just consider your living quarters. If it's something, you know, if you can't avoid being in a hotel and you just have to be in a hotel, just make sure that you bring the necessary equipment with you that's going to allow you to stay clean and stay healthy, which we'll get into that in just a second. So I'll hold off on that comment. So, also, another good link or a good resource for people, especially now more than ever, everybody wants to know everything about COVID-19 every day, every minute, every second, which I'm not that person, because I would literally just go insane if all I listen to is stuff about COVID all day, because it's really sad. But if you were preparing to go on a trip, even before COVID happened, and I'm sure post-COVID, it will continue to be a great resource, you can go to travel.state.gov. That website is fantastic. Like I said, before COVID-19, we would use this website to kind of see what's the word I'm looking for? To kind of measure the safety, for lack of a better word, of the destination in which we were going to. So, for example, if we were going to a different country and we wanted to know, hey, what's their political climate like? Is it safe to go there? Are they in the middle of a war? You know what I mean? So it's just those kind of things that this website can provide you with. And it also gives you some information on COVID-19 as a traveler. It has information here for U.S. citizens that are returning from international travel. And they also have it broken down based on country. So they have U.S. citizens returning from Europe, returning from China, cruise ship passengers, U.S. students abroad. So there's a lot of information on here if you would like to research further, do some more deep digging. That's a tongue twister. If you want to do more deep digging before you have to travel again. So that is travel.state.gov. So, with that being said, cleanliness. I want to get into cleanliness really quick because I could go all day about it before I give you some of my tips and tidbits to kind of take with you as you proceed throughout your day. After you've left this podcast, you'll have something to take with you from my little tidbits of what have you. But cleanliness, you guys, I can't stress, even before all of this happened, when I traveled, I was just completely a clean freak, and it for the first couple of times that my fiance and I traveled together, it made him laugh how much I like. It was like my packing list, everything that I brought just for cleaning. I had a whole list. So just so you're aware of what's out there and what's available to you, just get travel size anything. If it comes in a travel size, just get it. Lysol spray, it comes in travel size, get it. Clorox wipes, they come in travel size, get it. Hand sanitizer, even though that's like the hardest, it's literally like trying to find a needle in a haystack when it comes to hand sanitizer nowadays. So if you can find hand sanitizer, grab it. And if it's, whether it's travel size or not, just grab it, because you can put it in travel size containers. Baby wipes, I was conflicted on whether or not I should put this on here, because the poor babies, like when all of this started happening, baby wipes, Clorox wipes, any type of wipe, disinfecting wipe was just gone. So like people with actual babies, they're so pissed off right now, and understandably so. But if you can grab baby wipes, get you some baby wipes. And hand wipes, like they're called wet ones. Those are the ones I use, but they're specifically for like your hands and skin, and they're antibacterial wipes. So grab those, keep them on hand, especially if you have to travel. All of these things that I've listed also, they can go on your carry-on. So you don't have to put them in a checked bag, or you don't have to check your bag in order to bring them with you. Now, if you can't find them travel size and you still want to bring like your aerosol, Lysol, or anything like that, you can put it in a checked bag. But if you want to have it on you, all of those items, if they are travel size, can be on your person in your checked bag. So I hope all of that information that I just gave you was not overwhelming. And most importantly, I just really wanted to open up this podcast in general, as we continue to go on through the episodes, with just good information that you can take with you. It's one thing for people to come on here and just listen to me talk, but it's another thing if there's something of value for you within each episode. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of some tidbits here and there before we go on to our next segment. And my first tidbit, God, I can't say that word today. Tidbit for you, especially for right now, you guys, is to purchase your plane tickets in advance. The airline industry is suffering severely, as everyone else is. But if you are truly preparing, like I know a lot of people are out there like, child, as soon as outside reopen, I'm going here, I'm going there, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So start planning the things that you are doing. I know it's kind of blind planning because we don't know what's going to happen, but listen, as long as you read the fine print and it's in your budget, go ahead and purchase your plane tickets in advance for those trips that you were supposed to take, but you had to postpone. So that's one of my tidbits. And then the other is please, back to lodging. If you have to stay in a hotel, if you have to stay in an Airbnb, basically anywhere where your family is not, check everything. Even before even before COVID-19, I would go to a hotel. Even if I've been there a bunch of times, I love the hotel, all this other great stuff, I still check sheets. I still check towels. I wipe down everything from doorknobs to the remote to the telephone to any sort of faucet handle. I'm wiping all of it down because I don't know who else was here. So just those two things alone can just save you a lot of stress and headache for right now. So yeah, take those with you. And before we move into our next segment, take a break to move into our next segment, I want to pose a question for all of our listeners out there and for our viewers, because if you do not know, we are also, we're not live, but we are pre-recorded for YouTube so that you can follow this podcast or you can follow us on YouTube and you'll get the same information, same footage, same dialogue. I want to pose a question for you guys and ask you, where are you going post-COVID? Post-COVID-19, where are you going? And you can answer this question on our Instagram at HTAnywhere. We're going to have that posted for you on our story. I might post it on the feed too, but definitely on the story so you guys can go in and answer the question. But where y'all going? I want to know. Tell me, where you going? All right, you guys, we're going to take a break and we'll be back with our next segment called Keep the Money and Catch the Flight. Be back. All right, welcome back. Our next segment is called Keep the Money, Catch the Flight. And basically what we're going to be doing during this segment every episode is I'm just going to provide you guys with some cheap daily flights. Not necessarily cheap, but like some good specials of a daily every day or every episode for some like top 5 flights on Hopper. All this information is being brought to you by Hopper. Hopper is an app, travel app that shows you some great deals when it comes to airline tickets, when it comes to hotels. Download Hopper, go through, look around. You guys are going to find some really great deals, especially like the ones that I'm about to share with you right now. All right, so cheap flights from Atlanta, because again, I am here in Atlanta. So if you are flying out of Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, shout out to Hartsfield-Jackson, you can go to LA round trip for $94 from June 24th to the 30th. You can get to New York round trip for $106 from May 28th to June 1st. You can get to San Juan, Puerto Rico round trip for $133 from May 20th to May 25th. You can get all the way to Paris. I miss Paris. All the way to Paris round trip for $544 from June 8th through June 12th. And lastly, Cancun, Mexico for $207 from June 25th through the 29th. Again, all of these prices are round trip leaving from Atlanta. And the dates that I provided you with, I assume, are your validity dates in which they will honor these prices. You have to book your vacation for these dates in order for the prices to be honored. So again, that's Hopper. Download the app. You can check it out every day. There's new daily deals. Their daily deals feed. You can check it every day and see what pops up on there. And if not, tune in with us. We'll let you know anyway. All right. Our next segment is called Hotel Highlight. As I stated previously, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel at HTAnywhere on YouTube, you will notice that it is primarily hotel tours and reviews. I am huge on getting as much information as I can when it comes to the hotel that I'm staying in. I am a bit of a hotel snob just because I don't ever really do Airbnb when I travel. I prefer to stay in a hotel. Don't ask me why, I just do. That's my comfort level. So today's hotel highlight is going to be the Paris Renaissance Republic. It is in Paris, France. It's located in, I believe, the financial district. We went there and had a blast. I believe we went there 2018, September 2018, we went to Paris and we stayed here and were blown away. The service was great. Paris itself reminds me a lot of New York. There's places that you can go in France where you're like, oh, this is France. This is amazing. It's great. And then there's other places where you're like, oh, that's like a street somewhere in Manhattan. The building setup is sort of the same in the sense that the buildings are tall, not necessarily wide. And that runs true for this hotel also. But overall, our experience was fantastic. We did check in really, really late flying in from Rome, and check-in process was smooth. It was quick. Our room was spectacular. It was super clean because I'm a clean freak. It was super clean. But you know, it really was a great experience. The breakfast that we had was so good. And this hotel in particular was in walking distance of a lot of places. So if you wanted to, you know, do something that wasn't necessarily touristy and see what's around you, it's in a great area. You'll definitely feel safe just kind of walking around and taking in the sights. So shout out to Paris Renaissance Republic in Paris, France for our hotel highlight. Next up, we're going to be Foodie AF. Now, you'll learn that me, myself, as we progress with each episode, I love to travel, but I also love to eat. So our segment, Foodie AF, we're going to be highlighting a restaurant that we just simply loved when we went there. And usually our hotel highlight, our Foodie AF, and our Globe by the Glass, which is next segments, are all going to be in the same country unless otherwise. So also in Paris, France for Foodie AF is a place called Blend Hamburger Gourmet. Now, this place we found one night, we got really hungry, but we didn't really want to order room service. So we did what we always do. We just kind of left and started walking around, and it is in walking distance of the Paris Renaissance Republic Hotel. That's a tongue twister. It's around the corner, actually. It's not far at all, and it's called Blend Hamburger Gourmet. Now, a lot of people who know me are probably listening to this like, aren't you a vegetarian? I am. I am now a vegetarian. But when I was in Paris, I was not. So this place was really good. It's really cute, too. It's set up kind of on a back alley. I know that kind of sounds bad, but it wasn't scary or anything, especially since it was at night. But it's set up on a back street in Paris. It's a small storefront. It's not super big, but the burgers there were really, really good. And you can tell that they make them fresh. One, because of how long you have to wait, but two, because they taste so good. So shout out to Blend Burger Gourmet out in Paris, France. If you have a trip to Paris or you're in Paris, check them out. They're very good. All right, so Globe by the Glass, our next segment, highlighting some prominent drinks in a different country, a different state. Domaine Fontenoy. Hopefully I said that right. It is a French red wine. I love wine so much, and I love red wine so much. This wine was great. As you can imagine, being in Paris, it's just wine galore. And I had this wine on a dinner cruise our last night in Paris, and it was great. So if you're looking for something to kind of spice up your wine cabinet or collection, if you look up Domaine, Domaine, Font, Font, I'm going to assume this is Neuve, but now that I look at it, I probably said it wrong because it's spelled Neuve. It is a red wine. It is a French red wine, and it's very good. It's not too dry. I prefer a drier wine, but I still liked it. It wasn't too dry, but for people who like their sweet reds and things like that, I feel like they'll probably still appreciate it. But yeah, so thank you guys for tuning in to Hotel Highlight, Foodie AF, and Globe by the Glass. And overall, thank you guys for tuning in to today's episode and just kind of hanging out with me, getting to know me, letting me get comfortable in this podcast seat. This is the first for me. And so I really appreciate See, I'm so nervous. You guys make me so nervous. I really appreciate you guys tuning in and checking us out. A sneak peek of our next episode. Next episode, we're going to be talking a topic that I really like. The topic is called Relax When You're Dead, Picking the Best Offsite Vacation Tours. That is going to be fun because I am a traveler who does not know how to relax on vacation. I'm always doing things. I'm always like, let's go here, let's go there, let's do this tour. So I'm excited about next episode's topic. Make sure that you tune in. All right, y'all. So that's all I got for you for today. Thank you again for tuning in. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and YouTube at HTAnywhere. Again, that's HTAnywhere on YouTube and Instagram. And sign up for our email list. Check out our website at HTAnywhere.com. And I will see you next time, wherever that may be. Well, right now, it's going to be at home because we're still on lockdown. But hopefully, sooner rather than later, I'll be recording or coming to you from somewhere other than home. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.